hot potatoes, sir?
I have no reason. I have no reason to. Burn the street. Dutfield's Yard. Burner Street. Your interrogation of P.C. Smith has proven to be very shrewd and of great interest, thanks to the information I've managed to gather and that you were able to read in my notes. midnight, the Socialist Club meeting ends. The members, mainly Jewish men, gradually begin to leave the club in little groups or alone. At 12:20 a.m., the American leaves the Socialists Club for some fresh air. The street is deserted. At 12:30 to 12:35 a.m., Smith notices Liz Stride talking to the man with the package. At 12:40 a.m., Eagle, the president of the club, enters the Workers' Club via the passageway through Dutfield's yard. He passed through Dutfield's yard. 12:43 a.m., Israel Schwartz passes by Dutfield's yard and witnesses the attack on 12:44 a.m. Schwartz crosses to the other side of the road. The attacker sees him and yells, "Lipsky." At 12:45 a.m., Schwartz runs away, followed for a short distance by this man. At 1 a.m., Mr. Diemschutz wants to enter with his cart, but the pony refuses. We know that the murder took place between 12:45 and 1 a.m. Let's place Liz. 12:45 to 1 a.m., the murder of Liz Stride. It took place in this very spot, as the traces of blood were very confined. We will come back to this point in a few moments to elaborate on what could have happened. Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson. Watson, imagine the victim laid down there on the ground. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards. Her right hand, it is bloody, as is her left hand, it is closed around a bag of pastils. The ground is muddy. The ground is muddy. Her right hand, it is bloody, as is her wrist. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards. Her knees and dress, they are clean. We have two possibilities. The first is that Liz Stride's killer and the attacker, seen by Schwartz, were one and the same man. The second is that Liz Stride meets a client. After some discussion, they head towards Dutfield's yard to do their business. As soon as they arrive, the attacker appears while his accomplice keeps watch. Schwartz's arrival dissuades. They leave the area and leave Liz Stride in a tense state, but glad to have both hypotheses are possible, but an incongruous detail. Look at the victim carefully, Watson, and tell me the link between the murder of Liz Stride.
The bag of pastels, Holmes.
The bag of pastels. Indeed, Watson. If this woman had to defend herself against an attacker, why would she have held onto this bag in her hand? It didn't fall because this woman's hand Why didn't he slit her throat like the others? He must have feared a struggle with this.
Do you think the Whitechapel killer is behind this murder?
Yes, and now this murder has been linked to its rightful perpetrator. Here we are, Watson, Mitre Square. It took us a mere 20 minutes to get here. If the killer left... We know that Catherine Edow's body was discovered at 1... As a precaution, I brought an old map of the area with me.
Let's hurry, Holmes. This neighborhood makes me ill at ease.
Now then, we will need a lantern. Take the lantern, Watson. Watson, we are now in the exact...
This spot is...
That is probably... The main incision goes from the sternum all the way down to the... A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed. The head is turned towards the left. The murderer must... The cheeks were slashed to make them thinner. The eyelids were cut off. There is but one wound, Watson. It goes from the left side and descends in a slight oblique towards the right side. The nose was cut. The cheeks were slashed to make them thinner. A thimble is located right beside... Do these objects spread out by the victim? The main incision goes from the... A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed. These intestines were pulled out altogether. The main incision goes from the sternum all the way down to the groin. A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed. Do these objects spread out by... The inside of the thighs is clean. The inside of the thighs is... Part of this apron is missing. We will follow up on that shortly.
My goodness, Holmes, it was a slaughter.
Understand, Watson, that our killer had neither the time nor the conditions to bother with the niceties. He had no more than 7 or 8 minutes at most to kill the woman, open her up, and all the while in total darkness.
Holmes, it's a woman.
We must, first and foremost, locate the 3 exits. This is Mitre Street, from where Watkins, the... I have no reason to go that way. church passage. Hello, you must be Abraham Solomonovich, am I right?
Yes, that's me.
That's me. May I present?
Dr. Watson, of course.
You don't miss a thing, do you? It was the children.
They didn't want to.
They made a good deal out of it.
You have my word.
Does this spot where we are now in Mitre Square...
A demon lives in the...
Lots of rumours are circulating, but they are but rumours. I see you're leaving the Imperial...
Yes, Mr. Holmes. That night, 3 members of our club... Fantastic, Holmes.
Calm yourself, Watson. There is nothing at the moment.
I am afraid that won't be...
I understand.
But you are working for the good, and I must tell you what I know. One of the 3 men...
These men must have been about 16...
That's about right. So, Joseph, the butcher, said...
After the murder, did these 3...
Not quite. Harry stated that he hadn't seen the couple.
And what did your friend Joseph say? What did the...
The man must have been 30 years old, about.
And the woman? One final question. The Imperial...
Indeed.
Thank you for your help.
Bah, it was nothing.
This dark and narrow passage leads... Watson, we must now consult our timeline. We began in Dutfield... "1:30 a.m. P.C. Watkins didn't see the corpse while on... If P.C. Watkins did his rounds properly and entered Mitre Square via Mitre... Enter Mitre Square via Mitre Street, Watson, and stop and try to see me with the lantern. I will be where poor Edow's corpse was."
I see you, Holmes.
Perfect, Watson. Let's look at our timeline, Watson. Very good, Watson. Thus we can... "1:35 a.m. A man and a woman are arguing at the entrance of church..." 1:42 a.m. It should be noted, Watson, that the constable didn't enter Mitre Square.
I see you, Holmes.
You had to proceed into the square in order to see me. 1:42 a.m. 1:44 a.m. Let's put the murder of poor Eddowes. (1:35 and 1:42 a.m. The murder would appear to have taken place.
Agreed, Holmes. But does this really...
Let's look at our timeline. There, Watson. We are now certain that the murderer really had the time to commit these two murders.
Incredible!
Let's look at our deduction.
This spot is making me nauseous. Can we not head back, Holmes?
We certainly can't, Watson. We have one... Let's go. There's the spot, Watson. By night. Let's find...